The opinions expressed in this program reflect only those of the participants and are not necessarily those of the sponsors, management, or staff of WTBQ Radio or FST Broadcasting Corporation.
WTBQ.
You gotta go to FlixPop Radio. FlixPop Radio.
GHT and WTBQ every Saturday morning from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Behind the glass, FlixPop Radio producer Ryan Goose Gossiker. Ryan, how are you today?
Paul, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. And for those of you guys don't know, today is the Goose's last day here at the big radio station at WGHT at WTBQ. I know I'm going to miss him. Just a quick story. I wouldn't even be in radio if it wasn't for Ryan. September 5th, 2024, 9:23 a.m. I'm at Pompton Day. I run into this guy at his table, and, the rest is history. I end up on the Tom Lovelace Music Experience show, and next thing you know, I'm a radio personality, and it's all due to the Goose. Goose, it's got to be surreal for you that you're on your way out of here.
Certainly is. You kind of can hear it. And, I found out this news about a month ago today almost. And I believe that's when I told Frank and Taylor it was about a month ago. And you're just like, oh, I got a month. I got 4 weeks, and then it starts coming down. And, it is surreal. And I'm going to miss radio a ton, obviously. And you heard on the last show that I've got some content stuff coming. But Paul, you have done an excellent job here just in the short few weeks since you started, and you were at Pomp today. You mentioned the film to me, and I said 1,000%. You mentioned music, anything music here either goes to Frank or Tom Lovelace. Tom handles all the homegrown local stuff, so it was a home run. So I appreciate it.
You're very welcome, and you'll always be the catalyst for starting my radio career. So I appreciate it. This guy, he's going to have a great career. I wish you luck, Goose, and I know you're going to do great at MLB. I'm your host, Paul Bastante, and there is literally nowhere else in the world, and I mean the entire freaking world, that I'd rather be right now than here in beautiful Warwick, New York for FlixPop Radio. Number to call is 845-651-1110. If you can't call us, text us at 845-328-0886. You can also catch us across the country by visiting WTBQ.com and streaming us from there. That's right. You can have FlixPop Radio in your pocket for the entire hour, which is awesome. You can hear rebroadcasts of FlixPop Radio by visiting FlixPopRadio.com. Don't forget to check out the FlixPop Radio Movie Club podcast. New episodes drop every Tuesday morning starting on the 5th. Download on Spotify. So we have a great show for you today. Live in the studio is author and musician Daemon Manx. How are you today, my friend?
I'm excellent.
Awesome. We'll also have the officially reviewed segment with Allison Luke and the Reality Rewind with Shelley Williams and the People's Podcast Report with none other than Santiago coming up later in the show. We're also going to play the Spaziani's Catering and Food Design Trivia Contest, where you'll play the Movie Line Trivia game to win dinner and a movie. Date night, courtesy of FlixPop Radio. Flix and chill, if you will. Damon will provide the dinner and a movie, and you provide the chill. So we'll do all this today, but first, FlixPop Radio is brought to you by Officially Social, the Greenwood Lake Marina, Estate Attorney Rebecca Eckert, Spaziani's Catering and Food Design, Cardinal Tours, Monica's Italian Restaurant, Dream Builders by Design, Cardinal Frame, and The Reset with Stephanie Shore podcast. So our guest today on FlixPop Radio is a writer, author, and musician. He has an absolutely unbelievable story. We're going to go through all that with him today, plus his favorite genre of films is horror, and so we're going to discuss it all. Welcome to FlixPop Radio, Mr. Daemon Manx. What's going on, my friend?
Man, I am just thrilled to be here. Thank you so much.
I'm thrilled to have you. You're a no-brainer guest. We're going to get into your story just a second here. Wendy's in the studio as well, and I put myself between the two. No fighting today on the air, you guys, all right? But I'm in the middle of you, so I can break it up if need be.
All right.
Sometimes a referee is needed.
That's right. I've been over at their house for this, and yeah. So yes, no, either or brings us the opportunity to learn a little bit more about each week's in-studio guest. I'll ask Damon a series of rapid-fire questions that will require a yes, no, or an either-or response. Goose, for the last time, my man, let's do an example, shall we?
Let's do it.
All right, man. So, like, mayo on French fries, yes or no?
No.
Okay. Home fries or French fries?
French fries. I'm more of a hash brown fan than a home fry person.
On your bagel, Bacon or Taylor ham?
Bacon.
Okay, and here's the most important one that we all want to know. Ever lie about your birthday to receive a free dessert at the restaurant?
No, I've done it to my family to try to get a free gift, but that's a whole different side quest there.
All right.
No, not at a restaurant.
All right, great. So everybody got it? Everybody know what we're doing here? Yes, no, either or is always brought to you by the Greenwood Lake Marina. Visit them today at greenwoodlakemarina.info. Today's category is the horror dystopian movies, and that's it. All right, so you ready to play, Damon?
Definitely.
All right, so everybody place your trays in the upright position and prepare for impact. I Am Legend or A Quiet Place?
I Am Legend.
Okay, to me, that's an easy place. Quiet Place, I liked it, but World War Z or Zombieland?
Zombieland by a nose.
Okay, only by a nose? Is it because of Woody Harrelson?
It's almost an either or for me.
Right.
But, I started World War Z by reading the book. If we were going books, I'd go with World War Z.
Well, it's Brad Pitt versus Woody Harrelson, right, in this flick, so you're going Zombieland by a nose.
If you ask me anything with Woody Harrelson, I'm going Woody.
All right, War of the Worlds or Planet of the Apes, the franchise?
Planet of the Apes.
Dawn of the Dead, 1978, or Shaun of the Dead?
Oh, put me on the spot.
Yes.
Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah. You know what? I don't like the older type movies. They don't go with my sensibilities. So I agree with you. So far, we're in lockstep here. Okay. Armageddon, yes or no?
Oh, yes.
Independence Day or The Day After Tomorrow?
Independence Day.
This next one, 28 Days Later, changed really the zombie genre. It was really a pivotal film in that genre. But choose between 28 Days Later or the 1968 Planet of the Apes, the Charlton Heston one.
Oh. Planet of the Apes.
All right. Mad Max Fury Road or Bird Box?
Oh, Bird Box.
Army of the Dead or Blade Runner?
Blade Runner, without a doubt.
All right. Now, this last one, is really one of my favorite openings to any horror movie, In the Mouth of Madness or The Terminator.
Yeah, In the Mouth of Madness takes the lead on that one. Though I love Terminator, but In the Mouth of Madness.
Isn't it the cool scene when it opens up and they see him holding an axe and he's across the street and he just starts walking towards the window where they're eating dinner? That's an unbelievable...
Like you said, great opening scene.
Great opening scene. All right, so thank you for playing that game with me. I appreciate it. Yes, no, or either or gives our viewers the chance to get to know our guest a little bit better in a sense because, when the chips are down and you have the choice, what you would pick to do really says a lot about you. So I appreciate you playing the game with me. Tell us about what you're doing now with the writing before we get into anything serious before the break. What's going on with you?
Yeah, so I'm coming off of a series. I released a 4-book series last year. 4 books came out within 4 months. I don't recommend that to anybody. That's like giving birth to 4 kids 4 months in a row. Not that I know what that's like.
I don't think that's possible, but
I can't imagine. But it was a lot of work, but it was really a great experience to do. So I'm coming off of that. The books are still doing really well on the Amazon bestseller list. And I have a collection of short stories coming out this spring called Deacon, an Assemblage of Nightmares.
So if you, folks at home, go to FlixPopRadio.com/Manx, MANX, and what you'll find is you'll find all of Damon's stuff, all of his contact, all of his social media, the book covers, the pictures, and everything that's in there. It's really great. You'll get a really great, idea of what this guy's all about. The Ojanox is like a really cool series. That's the series you're talking about, 4 books. Certainly buy that from our author. We'll give you a little bit of chance to go a little bit more into that. On the other side, we'll hear from Allison with the officially reviewed report. We'll play the Spaziani's Catering Dinner and a movie line contest. And then, of course, we'll get into some more questions here with author Daemon Manx, all coming up after this. We'll be right back.
As a #1 public speaker, Paul Bastante combines entertainment and information in his presentations for all his speaking engagements. Topics may range from quirky Americans to the history of the Oreo cookie, as well as business topics such as Marketing 101 and artificial intelligence. Paul's upbeat personality plus motivational and inspirational speaking engagements are customized. Whether for a business conference or a senior living facility, you can book Paul by visiting paulbastante.com.
Hi, this is Orange County Executive Steve Newhouse. Join me and my guests every Monday on the Roundtable at 9 a.m. AM 1110, 93.5 FM, WTBQ.
WTBQ.
Welcome back to FlixPop Radio. We're still here with author and musician Daemon Manx. Before I get back to our conversation with him, though, I got a question for you, Daemon. Are your life documents in order?
Should they be?
Listen, everybody. If the worst were to happen, would your family struggle to put the pieces back together, or would they have peace of mind because you planned ahead and called the state attorney, Rebecca Eckert? Rebecca charges a flat rate for wills, advanced directives, powers of attorney, revocable trusts, and more. Not only that, she's the absolute best in the business, and she is my friend. And your initial consultation is always free. Visit her today at rleckert.com, rleckert.com. So it's time for the officially reviewed segment of the FlixPop Radio program. The officially reviewed segment is always delivered by Allison Lukin of Officially Social. Allison, how are you today, my friend?
I am fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing good. I feel like the best I've felt in weeks. For those out there in the audience, like Allison was on the show, and it was a mess. I was like, basically, I don't know, I was ill, and let's just be honest. So, but I appreciate you coming back and not holding that against me. What do you got for your review today?
Well, first of all, you are fantastic. Don't even worry about it. I don't think anyone would know that you were under the weather. You delivered, Paul.
Thank you.
No worries.
I answered the bell.
So, Officially Reviewed is brought to you today by estate attorney Rebecca Eckert. And my review this week is of the dystopian drama The Handmaid's Tale on Hulu. Now, I am going to make a bold claim. This is hands down my favorite show of all time.
Cheap pun.
Elizabeth Moss is unparalleled as the main character, June. The imagery is gorgeous, and at times the story seems to be out of a science fiction novel, but The Handmaid's Tale was actually a book written by Margaret Atwood, published in 1985. And she said that all of the events in the book were actually true and have occurred at some point in history, which is chilling. And season 1 of the show is based off of Atwood's book, and all of the subsequent seasons are the writers of the show. Now, for all the super fans like me, you will be thrilled to know that the final season is upon us. And it comes out on Hulu on April 8th. I cannot wait to gasp, ugly cry, shout at my television, and it's going to be awesome. Read it, watch it, binge it, and thank me later. So this is Allison Lukin for FlixPop Radio, and you can follow me on Instagram at Allison Lukin for more book recommendations.
As always, great job, Allison. And listen, I don't want to see you ugly cry. That's not you. But you know,
I'm loving every minute of it.
I've seen some of The Handmaid's Tale. Damon, have you seen any of it?
I've seen a few episodes.
It's an unbelievable show.
Really
it really goes along with our theme today. Dystopian, film. So, Allison, I appreciate you so much. We'll see you next week.
Thanks so much.
You're welcome. So, Damon, thanks so much for being on FlixPop Radio today. Every guest who appears on FlixPop Radio receives dinner for two at Monica's Italian Restaurant. He's over here giving like the fist pump. Yeah. 1 Lakeside Avenue in Pompton Lakes, New Jersey. It's an awesome place. Have you ever been there?
I have not.
Wendy, have you ever been there? You've been there? So you're going back, okay? The food there is totally on point. Dinner for two, complimentary, and compliments of Monica's Italian Restaurant. Visit them today at monicasrestaurant.net. Okay, back to this interview. Well, let's get back to it. Damon, you're a writer. You weren't always a professional writer, though. There were some, difficulties in the career and your personal life. So let's just dive right into that, because it's really the catalyst for you getting your creative works out there in the world. You were, cruising along in life. Tell us what happened.
Yeah. Well, my story's a lot like a lot of other people, had a good life, did not come from a broken home, did not come from a point of abuse in my life, but I'm one of those guys who did happen to fall into addiction. I got hurt on the job while I was living in Florida and was prescribed painkillers, which seemed to turn on a switch inside me. It was as if like the answer to what was missing in my life had been delivered to me. But I had no control over it, nor was I mentally prepared for what was about to unfold.
Tell us, you go down that road, you start to like these things a little more than maybe perhaps you should, and, the control aspect of your life becomes very difficult. Tell us about, the darkest days of this.
Yeah, it started with me making little bargains with myself. As long as I don't use this while I'm working, as long as I do it as prescribed. But, quickly I was breaking every rule that I laid down before me. I started using harder opiates to alleviate my addiction. So I keep escalating. I go into Tampa to get a fake MRI. I'm visiting pill mills to get OxyContin at this point. And I'm seriously, I'm in my 40s now dealing with a serious monkey on my back, which leads me to lose my business, go into serious debt, get a divorce. So I leave Florida and head back to New Jersey, at which point, I'm white knuckling it to try to be a member of society, which I fail at.
So basically you're really, it's affecting your life. Now you have no money, the business is gone. You're, probably, on the outs with friends and, money. And so what did you do?
Yeah, I turned to heroin when I got into New Jersey, which spiraled me even quicker down that dark path. And I committed a robbery to get money to fuel my addiction. In a desperate attempt, I convinced myself that was the logical course. That's the mystery of addiction, the insanity of it.
Well, if you know Damon like I know him, and it's funny, Damon and Wendy, when I started doing this radio show and thinking about guests, I learned that many of the people that are in our circle, in my circle, and that I've known pretty much and accumulated, I don't want to say that word because it's not a possessive, but the people that are in my kind of universe are all like these creative people. I tend to get along with you guys better, I guess, than like the normal, analytical, pocket protecting, like accountant or whatever. Not that there's anything wrong with those people, but if you know this guy, you know that this is not what's in his heart. And, I knew him back in school, always a great guy. And, but this is something that could happen literally to anyone. And I feel like what you're talking about when you robbed this store, okay, which you're very regretful of, I know, because I've spoken with you off air. What happened after that? You're arrested, right? And you're being interrogated, and obviously it's like the 800-pound gorilla in the room. You come clean, or what's going on with that?
Yeah, so I was merely brought in for questions. Like, they didn't really think it was me. They had a reason to suspect it was me. The lawyer said, hey, if you kept your mouth shut, you would have been fine. I was unable to do that. Like, as soon as they start questioning me, it all came out. Like, I told them everything. I gave them a slam dunk case and just confessed my life to them. And I was swiftly swept up, put into a county jail cell. Then, handed the possibility of seeing a few decades in prison.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
Is all I can say to that. Now, folks, yourself, right? And, you're an upstanding, human. You are trying to do all the right things, and then, circumstances of life take over and you find yourself in this absolutely unbelievable situation. How did you cope, with knowing that, you were going to... Now, you were sentenced to how long in prison for this?
I was sentenced to 10 years with the mandatory have to do 8.5.
So a decade, the judge tells you that you're going to be going away for. What is that initial feeling?
I remember a guy in prison telling me, hey, man, this is not the end of it. But when you're facing that initial feeling, you feel like that's the end of it. You feel like your life has just been either put on pause or the stop button has been hit. And that was it for me. I didn't recognize the man who went into prison. Neither did the people who loved me and I loved. I had turned into this irresponsible, untrustworthy person, which I never was. I was the guy who would go out of his way to do anything for the people I loved.
And that's consistent with what I know too. And, I feel like this is something that when you're going into it, you're feeling like, my life is over. But I think there's two kinds of people, Damon, and I think I know which one you are. And, the first type of person will just put their head in the sand. They'll lament that this actually happened to them, and they'll actually think like this happened to me, when in reality, you happened to it, okay? Just like me with my diabetes, the decisions I made put my life in danger. This is what you did. How did you get through some of these? And explain a little bit to people at home, like if they've never done time, tell us what the hell that is like.
It's staggering. And no matter what time you get, if you get sentenced to 30 years or you get sentenced to 3 months, it's a life-changing experience. And you have to get your mind wrapped around the time that you have to do isolated and away from everybody. When that happened to me, I said right then and there, I cannot be the same man who walked into this prison, the guy who walks out. I have to be someone different. I have to be a better man. And this experience has to change me. And I have to do everything to make sure that change happens.
And let me just fast forward. I'm going to get into a little bit about how your writing manifested itself while you were there. And while you were doing that, I mean, obviously you had a lot of time on your hands and you used it wisely, did college courses, really kind of immersed yourself in everything you could do to kind of get your mind off it. You didn't get involved in prison politics, the gangs, the this and that. So that's great. What I'd like to, though, shed some light on for the listeners is what it is possibly like when you leave a place or leave prison, your life is on pause for 8 years. You did 8 years. What were some of the changes when you got out that were like unbelievable and you found the most hard to deal with?
Well, first of all, the world seemed a lot bigger when I got out, even though it was right in the middle of COVID-19 lockdown. The world seemed bigger. I got into a car as a passenger and the motion of it just made me nauseous. I couldn't handle that. I walked into a Home Depot and I was overwhelmed by how high the ceilings were and how many people. So social anxiety crippled me almost. I couldn't be around people. I didn't want to be around people because I was used to being in a cell with one guy. So getting around with people, and then the cell phones. Like cell phones had jumped from this point in 2011.
Flip phone.
I had a Razor or whatever, and I come out and like there's a computer on my phone. Oh my God. And I'm trying to get my license and I'm trying to get all these things to help me acclimate to society. And it feels like roadblocks are just being thrown in my face. And I was like, there were points where I'm like, man, I was better off in prison, which is crazy to think.
You still there in your mind?
Sometimes I am. I have nightmares where my freedom is being taken from me and I'm going back to prison. I don't have, like, if I have a nightmare about a monster or something, I'm like, yeah, that's a great idea for a book. But when I have the ones about prison, then I'm really scared.
That's what really scares the hell out of you.
That gets me, yeah.
Absolutely. And just a 1 word, 2 word, 3 word piece of advice for somebody looking at something like this.
If you are looking at being sentenced to time, anytime, where you are at that point in your life does not define who you are.
So it's a mindset.
Yeah. Who you are is what you do with your time and where you are in your heart.
That's unbelievable to me. Sorry that you had to do this. But we're going to talk more about it because I feel like the lesson is one that we can give people so that they don't have to go through the heartache that you went through in order to get where you are. When we come back, we'll have a visit from Shelley Williams. She'll give us the Reality Rewind segment. And that, my friends, alone is worth the price of admission. Keep it right here. We'll also have the Spaziani's Catering Movie Line contest when we come back, as well as more questions for Daemon Manx. I'm going to get Wendy here involved, too. Halftime on FlixPop Radio.
As a #1 public speaker, Paul Bastante combines entertainment and information in his presentations for all his speaking engagements. Topics may range from quirky Americans to the history of the Oreo cookie, as well as business topics such as Marketing 101 and artificial intelligence. Paul's upbeat personality plus motivational and inspirational speaking engagements are customized. Whether for a business conference or a senior living facility, you can book Paul by visiting paulbastante.com.
Hi, this is John Tesh. Tune in for great music and intelligence for your life on weekdays at 1 p.m. as we assemble the tips, the facts, and the news you need to be happier, healthier, more lovable, and more fun to be around. Radio worth listening to.
We put the intelligence out there. You decide what to do with it.
WTBQ GHT weather.
Well, this morning, skies to be clear. It's going to be sunny today. Seasonable temperatures in the mid-30s. Partly cloudy this evening, becoming mostly cloudy for the overnight hours with lows in the lower 20s. Sunday is going to be a mostly sunny day. We'll get into the upper 30s. Then it turns mostly cloudy again for Sunday night with lows in the lower 20s. Little sun to start Monday, becoming mostly cloudy for the afternoon, milder with highs in the mid-40s. I'm meteorologist Jim Rinaldi.
WTBQ.
Welcome back to FlixPop Radio. We're still here with Daemon Manx, author of the book series, The Ojanox, which is a crazy, dark, and scary book. And let's face it, my friends, I've been holding you up for quite some time. I couldn't appreciate you more, and that whole thing came out of your head, huh?
Yeah,
that's a crazy place to be up there. Wendy, yes?
Yes.
You know it pretty well.
Oh, for sure.
How do you get the best results on your social media investment, Rob? Sorry, Damon.
That's a great question, and I wish I had the answer to that.
Yes. Okay. Well, it's easy. You call Officially Social. I'd recommend them to help your small and medium-sized business reach the masses via social media. They'll give business the proper guidance, and they move the needle. Learn more about Officially Social by visiting them on the web at officiallysocial.com. So let's get right back into this interview. Before I do, though, Rebecca Eckert, I was talking to Wendy between the commercial break. You used Rebecca Eckert for your stuff?
I did.
How was it to deal with Rebecca?
She's amazing. Very, very organized, right on top of everything, quick, in and out, answered all my questions. She's amazing.
The coolest thing about her I always find is that, I don't mean to offend any attorneys that are out there. Like we have attorneys that are on shows here at TBQ and WGHT. But a lot of times when you go see an attorney, right, it's a very bougie experience. You're worried about saying the wrong thing. It's intimidating, right? Any of that stuff with Rebecca?
No, Rebecca's very down to earth. Her office is very quiet and calm and inviting.
Right,
she's awesome.
And she's got classic rock playing in the background,
yes,
right?
Yes.
And she sometimes has the nice dog that's very friendly.
I didn't see her dog.
Oh,
I wish
what
I
a
saw
cute
her
dog! What a cute dog! And it's actually her favorite child.
Oh,
even
that.
including her children. So, all right. So, Damon, let's talk about. I called you Rob. Coming out.
I didn't even catch that.
Coming the break, I caught it. But let's talk about that, okay? Because I feel like when you came out, there was some soul searching. Because I feel like one of the biggest parts of this whole thing is when you are an ex-con, okay. I guess technically as you were, it's even weird to say, but it's hard to find a job. It's hard to get back into life again. Tell us the story about your name, there's a lot of people have a pen name. This is your pen name. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so Daemon Manx is my pen name. And this spawned while I was in the prison system. I started writing horror while I was incarcerated. And it's great to have a creative outlet to do that because it really lets you process things. So I'm thinking I need a pen name because my name just does not roll off the tongue. Now, if you took the name Daemon the way it's spelled, Daemon, that's the demon, the entity in Old English and Scottish that's got the power to transform the personality of a man. If you take the word Manx, as in the Isle of Manx, which is known as the Isle of Man, you now have Demon Man. So the transformed personality of a man, because the prison process, I wasn't sentenced, I was saved. I was saved in every sense, so I was able to come out a man who went in addicted, not being able to process things in a mature fashion. And I'd like to think I handle things a little bit better. And now a new improved Daemon Manx.
Is he the new improved Daemon Manx, Wendy?
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, because we don't need a radio show to, espouse the virtues of Daemon Manx, because really I feel like what he's done with his life after having such a life-changing experience, and it's always harder when it's your own fault. You did it to yourself, right? It's the same thing with me with the diabetes. Daemon, is he a different dude now?
I think he's more of what he was before this happened. When he was younger, I've known him since third grade. He's the Daemon Manx of third grade. That's
awesome.
I mean, he's honest. He's wants to help every single person. It's who he is.
Listen,
he didn't change.
No,
That's
he's a great guy. That was always in there. And like I said before, people go through these things. For the listeners, whenever I have a guest, it's not like I see them for the first time when they come into the studio in the interview. No, Damon and I went to the diner together. We did that thing where we played laser tag at the mall. We did that. That was awesome.
One of my favorite
then
things.
And Wendy's laughing at me here, but we did, and we went ice fishing the one time too.
Yeah. You caught that big one.
That big one,
was great,
right?
yeah.
And I can tell the story another time, like a fish story. But this guy's a good guy. So I'm so glad that you're here with me. Tell us more about and this is the last question about being incarcerated. I don't want to harp on that. But let's find some humor in it, and we can agree to make some positive out of today as we're on the radio and good radio. What was the biggest stereotype about prison, right? Where people say, oh, drop the soap, right? They say stuff like this. They say stuff, people feel like when you walk in like Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor when they're walking in, we bad, right? Because you want everybody to know you're a bad mofo, whatever. What about it?
Well, this is the thing, and you've heard this before. When you walk into prison, you walk up to the biggest guy in there.
That's right.
And you swing and you take him right out into. If you do that, you will end up in solitary confinement without a shower, without use of a phone call, without use of commissary, and it will be a miserable, miserable experience. Essentially, you'll be inside the jail.
But you've seen this happen? Like somebody come in?
It happens all the time.
Really?
Yeah,
So people really do feel seriously like they're going to walk up to the biggest, baddest guy in the jail and take a swing at him the minute you get there?
And a lot of times the big guy's like, what did I do? What is this?
You see the guys like the Green Mile guy where he's just a mild-mannered, gentleman, right?
Yeah, if you walk into, at least, you know what, I'm going to say every prison in every state is different, but where I was, if you walked in and you told the truth and you were respectful and you didn't take anything, of course, you got to stand up for yourself if you have to. But if you were an honest person, thorough dude, that's what we call him, thorough dude.
Okay.
You did not have a problem.
Okay. It's interesting.
Yeah.
So it really wasn't you're always fearing for your safety or anything like that.
If they made a movie about how prison would really be, it'd be the most boring 2 hours you ever watch.
See, I'd love to hear that.
Yeah.
That to me, that gives me encouragement that it's all lies that I'm hearing.
It's guys sitting around playing spades and watching Jerry Springer.
On a little
Jerry's
TV this big?
Well, you can buy a 13-inch TV, but
really?
For the 1 or 2 hours that you're allowed out, there's a TV in the day room.
Now toilets are suction instead of gravity.
Yeah, and it's connected to the sink, and it's inside your cell, which is 7 by 10.
And one other person?
Yep.
All right,
Yeah.
so the whole bathroom thing, probably nutty.
It's nutty. You'll hear a phrase, put some water on that, bro. Put some water on that. So we had a system where we would hang up sheets so we'd have some privacy. And, you get flush 15 times for one situation. Yeah.
All right. Listen, man, congratulations on getting your life back together. We know, that this is a work in progress. We never say, oh, we're out of the woods or whatever, but I'm rooting for you, as my friend, and I feel like you're going to do a great job. But guys, as he stands in front of me today, he's a different person. What's your favorite movie genre?
Dystopian apocalyptic movies.
Okay. How about,
horror genre.
you have a director that's your favorite or anything?
I don't know. Ridley Scott is one of them.
Yeah.
You know, for sure.
Yeah.
I've got quite a few. It depends on the movie.
Right. Well, we're going to expand on all this on the FlixPop Radio Movie Club podcast, which will be dropping not this Tuesday coming up, but 2 Tuesdays from that. And I'll have Damon on my podcast, and we'll get into even a little more stuff. But I want to give the movie line contest, Spaziani's Catering and Food Design Movie Line Contest, your chance to win dinner and a movie. All you have to do is identify the movie. We'll give you a movie line. If you call us with the correct answer first, you will win dinner for two at Spaziani's Catering and Food Design, 1572 Route 23 in Butler, New Jersey. The tickets are for their Friday night feast, which is just really just awesome. You'll also receive 2 movie gift cards for your enjoyment following Friday night feast at AMC Theaters in Wayne, furnished by Denise Fuchs, transformational life coach, helping her clients design a life they love living. She's also hosting an online workshop this Thursday at 7 p.m. It's called Standing Firm When Your World is Shaking. You can register by calling 201-961-3666 and speaking with Denise. Okay, so I'm going to give you the quote. Everybody, Wendy and Damon in the studio, please don't shout the answer out. You must call to get to win the tickets and the movie tickets. And the number to call is 845-651-1110. Again, the number is 845-651-1110. And here's the quote. It's simple. 5-word quote. You got red on you. You got red on you. That's the quote of the day. So, Damon, tell us about Deacon, because, you know, I've been reading the Ojanox. You signed a copy for me. Thank you so much for doing that. It's really awesome. I showed everybody. We took pictures about it. They're on the website as well.
Awesome.
FlixPopRadio.com/Manx. Give us some stuff on Deacon.
Deacon is a collection of short and some not so short stories that actually has more of me in it than any book I've ever written. So Deacon, the story itself, it opens up in a dystopian world, a zombie apocalypse, where this guy Deacon is going around saving people from the ravages of the world. And then in steps, in the next scene, the author who is writing the book, who just got out of prison, who's struggling in his early years of sobriety.
That sounds so familiar, Wendy.
Whose name happens to be Daemon Manx.
So it is familiar.
Yeah.
Okay.
So while Daemon, I speak of Daemon in the third person, is struggling with his own demons, the world of the demons comes more and more to life. Fact and fiction meld as one in a head-spinning, out-of-this-world experience that just is going to leave you saying, what did I just read?
Can I tell you, the listener, something and tell you something like... So, like, when you look at Damon, like, his appearance belies actually what he is. And when you look at, like, his publicity photos, and you're kind of a scary dude. Like, if there was, like, an encyclopedia for, like, and said, like, what does a horror writer look like? It would be Daemon Manx to my left here. You get that a lot?
I get a lot. They're like, you don't look anything like your picture. But yeah, they do. People are like, hey, you're Walter White. And I'm like,
yeah, he looks like Walter White. So, I'm going to say that. That's unbelievable. So that's your doppelganger, man, to be honest. Yeah. I don't know how you look in your underwear on the side of the road in the Arizona desert, but, you look like you're definitely from the neck up.
Shot.
That's from the neck up, no doubt about it. Still waiting for somebody to call in with the... It's
a tough one if you don't know it, but I think it's an easy one. I know it.
I think it's easy because I did all the research, and I actually know the answer. Yeah. You got red on you. That's the quote. Who wants these 2 movie tickets? Call in 845-651-1110. You must call in. You can also text us at 845-328-0886. Any questions for my guest, Daemon Manx or Wendy? Please just let them fly. Let's see. Ready for a break there, Goose? All right, everybody. On the other side, we'll get a winner for dinner and a movie. We'll hear from Santiago with the People's Podcast Review. Still have more questions for my in-studio guest, Daemon Manx. And, of course, all of your calls. Don't go anywhere. We're almost out of here.
As a #1 public speaker, Paul Bastante combines entertainment and information in his presentations for all his speaking engagements. Topics may range from quirky Americans to the history of the Oreo cookie, as well as business topics such as Marketing 101 and artificial intelligence. Paul's upbeat personality plus motivational and inspirational speaking engagements are customized. Whether for a business conference or a senior living facility, you can book Paul by visiting paulbastante.com.
Hi, this is Tom Fursey. Sing along and relive the memories of the 1980s on the Magic of the 80s. Saturday night starting at 6 on WTBQ, playing the best music.
Magic of the 80s. WTBQ.
And welcome back to FlixPop Radio, your go-to each Saturday morning at 9 a.m. for movies and more here on WGHT. Coming up right after FlixPop Radio is the best of the Tom Lovelace music experience at 10 a.m. Stay right here after the show to catch it. And again, it's the last show for Goose. Goose, we're going to miss you. No! I got to produce my own show?
I'm going to miss you too, Paul.
Oh, dude, listen, you're a great guy. You gave me some really great advice for the radio. Folks at home, like, I'm not a radio guy. I mean, I guess I am because I'm on the radio. But the thing is that before I did this, I was never on the radio. I could never have done this without Ryan. And Ryan, I have to tell you, I know 25 and 26-year-olds who can't close like a light, or they can't close a door behind them or whatever. And, you're here on the radio. Folks, there's like 1,000 buttons. It's like being a pilot on a commercial aircraft. Ryan, what is it like?
It is a lot. I appreciate that, Paul. But based on my bringing up, I take real good pride in being that old school type of head to the grindstone, just get after it type of personality. And, you can just ask my girlfriend because I work 4 different jobs at the same time. It's as if I don't like seeing her. I do. I love to be with her. But I can't stop, Paul. And when I'm sick or something like that, I don't know what to do with myself. Right. I feel so weird.
Right.
But yeah, it's Frank Taylor. They taught me, Dan Baldwin, who was here before me. You just get in the lineage, and it takes a little while to learn, but man, it's so much fun.
I'm gonna miss doing yoga with you and goat yoga on Tuesday mornings, like we do every Tuesday morning.
Well, I was gonna say, Paul, if I'm gonna be a guest at some point on this show, we'll do sports genre one day, and we got to do some yoga before the show. I hear this is what you do with your guests before the show.
No doubt about it. And March 22nd, I'm going to have Zach back to talk spring training and everything. So that's going to be an awesome show. And we're still here with Daemon Manx and Wendy. And we're I think I got a winner on the or somebody who thinks that they know on the line. Caller, who am I speaking with? Where are you from?
My name's Kevin. I'm from Washingtonville.
Kevin, welcome to the show. Welcome to FlixPop Radio. Everything going okay, my friend?
It's very well. It's so nice out, finally.
Oh, God. It's supposed to get 5 degrees better every day now for the next couple days. And, folks, my feet are like a couple of blocks of ice. I'm walking around on them. They feel like they're shattering. But, Kevin, it's great to have you on the show. I'm going to give you the quote again right now, and then you're going to go ahead and give me the answer if you have it. You ready to go?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's go, Kevin. Here it is. 5 words. You got red on you. Who?
Well, the only movie that comes to mind to me is Shaun of the Dead.
You got it, Shaun of the Dead.
Well done. Yeah.
There's our winner right there, Kevin. Where are you from again, Kevin?
Washingtonville.
Washingtonville. Well, congratulations. I'm going to get you just hang on after I let go and give Ryan your information so I could get these tickets to you and your email and everything. And which radio program gives you the best chance to get lucky?
Well, that's WTBQ and WGHB, of course.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Kevin. We'll talk soon, okay?
All right, pal. Thank you.
You got it. Absolutely. Congratulations, Kevin. That's a great answer. I'm glad to get the calls in, of course. Dinner and a Movie is sponsored by Spaziani's Catering and Food Design, transformational life coach, Denise Fuchs. So Shaun of the Dead is a pun, the name Shaun of the Dead, it's a pun on the dawn of the dead. And, from dusk till Shaun was discussed for that movie by Wright and Peg when they were writing and directing, referencing from Dusk Till Dawn, as was a parallel sequel starring Stevenson called Yvonne of the Dead. And I feel like, Damon, tell me, whenever you talk about this genre of films, doesn't it seem like they all, have that like nod to other movies in the genre, like in this case, of the Dead?
Yeah. Well, I mean, starting with George Romero's Night of the Living Dead, I think it set the precedent for anything in that genre. So you're naturally going to want to give a little bit of nod, but I think it's even great how they added the comedic effect to it.
The film's a struggle between the binary opposition of good versus evil, and Sean and his friends, his dwindling band of friends, I should say, because it gets smaller as the movies goes, represent the good left in the world. But as the film goes on, it's overtaken by evil in the form of the living dead. Shaun of the Dead made over $30 million worldwide, but it actually made more internationally. 16.5 million versus 13 million here in the States. And then, of course, Shaun of the Dead's a 2004 movie about a London electronics salesman and his roommate are caught up in a zombie apocalypse, which is like so cool. And on our podcast, FlixPop Radio Movie Club podcast, we talked about how much I would be like Kramer and Friends, like I'm out, right? Like I'd be out in the first 5 minutes of any zombie apocalypse. I feel like I put the money on the counter. I'm out. I'm a zombie now, How quick would it be before you got caught up?
I'd go 15 minutes.
15 minutes?
Yeah, I think I last
all right,
about
so
15.
then when I have to make the choice who I'd like to have with me in the zombie apocalypse, it's definitely not going to be Damon.
Yeah.
All right, so on the line I have who?
Well, it's Santiago.
Santiago, so glad to see you, my friend. How are you today?
I'm doing great this morning. Hi, Goose, Damon, Wendy. How's everybody doing today?
Great, thank you.
The People's Podcast Review on FlixPop Radio is reported each week by Santiago. He's a podcaster, engineer, and podcast producer out of ANJ Studios in Pompton Plains, New Jersey. But best of all, he makes my voice sound velvety smooth. Santiago, what you got for us in your recommendation today?
Well, thank you so much, Paul. Well, the People's Podcast is brought to you by Cardinal Tours, located in Pompton Lakes, New Jersey. Today we're going a little bit backwards, and I'm crazy to say this is a throwback because this podcast is actually from the early 2000s, and that's called The Fourth Ambit by Dawson Nichols. Now, this podcast, if you're a fan of movies like The Matrix or Terminator, then it's really worth the listen. The reason why I picked this one for this week, though, is because we're kind of seeing it a little bit more today. Because while it does take place in the future where the internet has become fully immersed with different ambits, right, it grants people the opportunity to explore their dreams and fantasies for a price. And that's where AI comes in. So this is called The Fourth Ambit by Dawson Nichols. And it's a short series, but it's worth the listen. And this is the People's Podcast for this week.
Santiago, thanks so much for that. What made you go back all the way to 2002 on this? And I didn't even know that podcasts were even a thing in 2002. That tells you how much I know about it. Was podcasting a thing in 2002? It must have been, yes?
Yeah, well, it's kind of as crazy as it is when you look back now and you think about how revolutionary a film like The Matrix was at the time, right? And you come out and you're like, this is the first time we've ever seen this slow motion and robots in the future and the lore of all that. I found how interesting it was because of where we're at now with AI.
Absolutely.
And
so,
I was
a little scary, yes?
Yes, and well, I mean, that's the part of it that kind of gets it because even though it's, 20 years ago, you look at it and you're like, well, the undertone of it all is, hey, people are willing to go into these worlds in the future, but underneath each level of those ambits, it gets a little bit darker, kind of like the dark web. So it starts rising the mystery as you go into levels deep, and this was ahead of its time, which is why I kind of wanted to go a little bit backwards on this one.
Awesome. That's very thoughtful review on the People's Podcast today, Santiago. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week. All right, buddy?
All right, guys. Take it easy.
Okay.
Enjoy.
Thanks, Santiago. Bye. So, question for you, Damon. What is your favorite type of vacation?
I haven't taken it yet because I've got this dream to visit Europe and actually go to a bunch of different destinations, but I haven't found the vacation yet.
Okay. So listen, to me, hands down, best vacation is a European river tour vacation, but unfortunately, every time I try and book them, my efforts are foiled by zombies, it seems. So instead, now I call Cardinal Tours in Pompton Lakes. They specialize in European river tours, and they will plan all of the details for you from soup to nuts. Betty Houston is the person you'll talk to there. She's my friend, a very kind human, and she will hold your hand. She will make sure that you know everything there is to know. They'll also help you with your exclusive resort and group vacation excursions. You can rely on her experience. Call her today at 973-835-0177. All right, Damon, so we have a few minutes left. I told you guys, I told Wendy as well before we got on the air, this hour goes fast.
It really does.
It really goes fast. And I couldn't appreciate you being more open and transparent with us and sharing your experiences. As we come down the stretch here, tell people how they can get your books, and because I feel like we have to support our fellow artists. We have to support the people who really have a gift that nobody else has. And they say, and Santiago brought up the AI, and we're all supposed to be scared because AI is going to write books. But I guarantee you, AI ain't got nothing on the mind of Daemon Manx, right? You can't buy his books from AI. Go ahead and try to do it, and you can't do it. But how do you buy your books?
Yeah, so you can come directly to me, which is the Daemon Manx website or the Last Waltz Publishing website. I think we'll put a link up.
Yeah,
possibly
it's
for
up
those.
there, yep.
We're also on Amazon, BarnesandNoble.com, and at Walmart.com. I would always tell people to follow me on social media. I've got a great thing going on social media, and I love to get to know people. Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. I love it. But those are the places to find me.
And you have quite a following on social media. Tell us how you turned a corner on that, because it's interesting for people out there who are interested in this. A lot of people, they're like, when they talk about the social media, they're like, they don't know what the heck's going on, right? And you hear about all these like hotshot, like viral videos and kids making, $1 million every single week online. It's not really like that, is it, Damon?
I actually have found it to be exactly like that.
Yeah, really? That's why you're wearing that silk scarf today in the studio.
It turned around for me about a year ago, and I was just like every other author on TikTok, and I hold up my book. This is my book. This is me. Look at me.
Yeah, look at me. I'm the best. I do this and that.
One day I just start, you know how much I love music.
Yeah.
I started talking about the greatest concert I ever went to. Pink Floyd, 1987. Put my heart into that video. That thing went viral. It went I got 800,000 views in a day. Yeah, and then ever since, the videos are I talk about music. I don't try to sell myself. I don't try to sell my books. I ask the audience their opinion on who's the greatest heavy metal vocalist of all time.
Ronnie James Dio.
Well, of course, number one right there.
And it's interesting. That's my first concert I ever went to. I was 12 years old. I was on a baseball team that was playing in Providence, Rhode Island. Our hotel was right across from the Civic Center. And to give you some idea of how lax everything was in the world back then, 9 o'clock at night as a 12-year-old, I was not being supervised. I wandered across the street into the Civic Center where Twisted Sister was opening for Dio.
Wow.
And that smell in the air was like this pungent, sharp odor. And to this day, I don't even know what it is, Wendy.
I can't imagine
what that is.
Incense or something.
Yes, incense. Something like that. Yeah, for sure.
Febreze.
Yeah, Febreze. No. But I digress. The first concert we've ever been to, that's unbelievable. You just gave me a memory that I haven't thought of really in years and years and years. So thank you for that.
That's what music does.
Yeah.
It brings it back.
It does. It brings you back to a point where, it's not it's kind of, you don't remember per se the details, but you remember how you feel when you hear that song again. It's almost like a time warp. It puts you right back to where where you were at that point. So listen, we're out of time. This is crazy. A couple Tuesdays from now, you're going to tune in. I'm going to interview Daemon again, and we're going to get a little bit more in depth on that. FlixPop Radio. It's brought to you by the Greenwood Lake Marina, Officially Social, Estate Attorney Rebecca Eckert, Spaziani's Catering and Food Design, Cardinal Tours, Monica's Italian Restaurant, the Silk City Podcast, Denise Fuchs, and the Reset with Stephanie Shore Podcast. I'd like to thank our guests, Wendy and Damon, Allison, Lucan, Santiago, Goose behind the glass. Good luck to you at MLB, Goose.